So this video is for my clients or potential clients, and you can also use this to assess your movement. So this comes from Dr. Gary Gray at the Gray Institute. This guy is like basically the leader in functional training, and when I'm going to demonstrate these movements, you're going to understand why. So much of our movements, and I was recently going to renew my CSCS, and I got the textbook, and I'm still seeing in there, it's disappointing. They haven't evolved. They neglect a lot of transverse plane movement. They are doing hamstring curls and leg extension stuff, which to me, with an athlete, is a waste of time. On a rehab setting, that's a little bit different. But when it comes to strength and conditioning, you should mimic the activity, and they don't. So there's movement in 3 planes. So this comes from, and I just got certified in the 3D MAPS, which is basically a movement analysis and then performance certification. So it's a way to analyze functionally our clients and then improve their performance with that analysis. And I used to be one of those ones where I'd lay them on the bench and look at their hamstring, and it's not 80 degrees here, and that has its merits. But most of our time should be focused on the movements that we're going to do in real life, and that really doesn't mimic a lot of the stuff that we're doing. And when you see these movements, you're going to say, sometimes I gotta reach back here and can I get myself in and out of it? So the key with these movements, and I don't want to get too in depth because usually I'm just using this for my clients to videotape themselves and send it back to me so that I can create a workout that's gonna help them. And this is gonna help them too. So even if you're not an athlete, this pertains to you because it's gonna help you see the issues that you are going to be, or the weaknesses that you are facing in your movements throughout the day. Because if there's a discrepancy in this movement, it's going to bite you in the ass. It's going to get you. All right. Either you're going to, where you find yourself slipping and falling in that thing, or you fall and break a hip, or you start getting knee injuries and stuff. The movement should be fluid. And if you notice a stagnant, so when my mom comes up the steps, I can see her it's not fluid. She's got to stop and push up, and that's a red flag of gotta fix this. So we're gonna look at sagittal plane, which is front to back, frontal plane side to side, and rotation. We're gonna look at mobility in those planes, and we're gonna look at stability, which is looking at the transformational zone. The transformational zone of the body is where a move, so if I'm a pitcher, right? If I got the start of the pitch and the end of the pitch, and so that's where the transformational zones are going to be, right? So if I put my pitcher in those end zone, right, and being able to get in and out of that, right, fluidly, it's beneficial, because if you can't, then you're going to have an issue. So I actually do this with my first graders. So as a teacher, I have my first graders all the way to grade 8. I do a little bit of this with my pre-K kids, not the stability stuff, but I'll have them maybe tap and things of that nature. So actually, this is something that you want to include in your warm-ups, because if I want to, let's go joint to joint. I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible. My head goes right, my neck, right, which is one of the first joints. 1, 2, so flexion, extension, side bend, that's 4, 5, 6, right? Then my arms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the rotation, right? And again in all those 3. If I do these 6 movements, I get all those 66 movements in just 6. And so if we think about arthritis, which is one of the best things we can do with arthritis, is move that joint. If we use these 6 positions or this assessment, right, in our day-to-day, it's gonna make sure that we're getting all those joint movements. And it's also gonna say like too, if you're working out, what am I neglecting? What am I neglecting in my workouts, right? Most of the time, most people are sagittal plane driven. If you look in the gym, it's all front to back, very rarely side to side, and hardly any rotation, all right? So let's start with, and I'm gonna simplify this as much as I can. You want to mimic this movement the way I'm doing it, okay? So with straight arms, all right? And with the head movement. So when I bring my hands, I'm gonna follow with my head, so that's gonna bring my neck and my head into flexion, extension, side bending with these movements. So you wanna make sure that you don't forget that. You wanna hit this from a side view. So if you're videotaping this, let's do the front to back one first, right? So you wanna do it from the side. Right, and I know I don't have a camera here, but you want to be able to do like about 45 degrees, and when you videotape yourself so that I can, of your stance leg, so I can see exactly what's going on. If you hit it from different views, even better. If you have a partner that can videotape this with you and get you from the side and all that, and do it, it's gonna help me be able to see, right? And so it's hard with me not having a cameraman here with me, but I'm gonna show you from the side. So let's go to the side. Let's do a forward step or forward lunge, and then we're gonna bring ourselves into extension, okay? So from the side, now I wanna keep this back foot heel flat on this. So my back foot, I don't wanna take too big of a step where this comes up, all right? And then I'm going to extend. So, and then follow my head. So see how my head follows my hands? All right. All right, so that's from the side. Let me get you from the front to the back. So we're gonna look like this. And I always tell my students, like, your goal is to see if you can look at the back walls. Can you get that? All right. And then what I'm looking for too is a C, right? I want to see in my clients, right, that I see a natural pattern that's natural, right? And so if they're missing that pattern, it's going to allow me to kind of pinpoint where the issue might be. But again, we're looking at full chain, full body, right? Instead of just isolating stuff and seeing how they all work together, all right? So that is going to be my forward lunge and extension. Now I want to so we're looking at extension of the body. Now I want to look at flexion of the body, okay? So I'm going to step my foot back, right? And then I'm going to swing my arms down and follow with my head, all right? And these patterns, I always say, like, you want to reach out as far as you possibly can and expand, right? That's your goal, to expand, all right? So my back step, good. And so as you're noticing this is a stretch to my hamstring. That's a way better stretch to my hamstring than laying down and doing this, right? So in extension, right, when I did that first one, that's my hip flexors. I'm looking at flexibility in my hip flexors, which again, I'm looking at flexion and extension, all right, on the front to back, okay? All right, so now let's look at stability in that. So what you're gonna do is I want you to toe touch. So you're gonna toe touch. If you have a slippery floor, so with my students, I have them slide their foot, so they're just barely touching the floor, right? So I'm gonna reach back, good, toe touch. And now I want to no touch. But I want to keep my foot, I don't want to elevate it here, I want to keep it as close to the floor as I can, right? And then I want to do the opposite leg. So the biggest thing I want to look for is there a difference between right and left, right? Are they balancing on their right, or are they falling all over their face on their left? Or can they reach out farther to their right? Does it look smoother and more fluid, okay? So on my opposite side, I'm here, right? And those are the transformational zones. Can I get out here, come back? Can I get back here and bring myself back fluidly. All right, so now let's look at the flexion. So again, furniture slider is good, man. You see those in the gym where you can slide your foot back. So toe touch, and if you're falling all over the place, use the toe touch. Again, so I can, and then as you get better, you will bring your foot up, right? That's our sagittal plane. Now let's look at the frontal plane side to side. This is the best to videotape right from the front or the back. All right, especially from the front, I can see really good what's going on here. So in our side lunges, I got this lunge stepping out, and then what they call our curtsy lunge is our crossover step. So now we're gonna look at the inner part of the body and the outer part of the body. All right, so hands go up here, and now I'm going to the side. I'm gonna step out to the side, use my eye, right? And then come back, keep doing that. Use your eyes to follow your hands, all right? And now I'm going to go inside and reach it to the opposite side. So again, make sure you're mimicking what I'm doing here, all right? So I don't wanna get too depth into detail, but I'm here now and then reach it here. And so now I feel that stretch to the outer part of the thigh. This is the inner part here, right? And then I'm looking at side bending from the top down, head all the way down to the feet. All right, so let me do the side one again. So hands are up here, reaching up. Good. Now let's take a look at the stability. So it's very similar to this first one. Now we're gonna do with a reach. So toe touch first. And then no touch. And I'm trying to make sure, when I get, I'm gonna follow my hands, right? And now same thing inside, right? So taking that step inside, I wanna make sure toe touch, no touch, there you go. The more reps you can do and videotape it, the better I can see, right? So I wouldn't just do 2, keep doing it, change the angles to make sure I can see how it looks. Rotation, all right? So, rotation, I got my forward rotation, right? So if this is my right leg, I have to go left. If I split myself down the body, right? I got my left and then my right, all right? So let's go forward first. Now the hands are gonna be here, okay? So, it's crucial that this stance foot, because it's gonna wanna pivot, stay straight. So put more of your weight on it. All right, then come around the corner and follow your hands with the eyes. Give me different angles so I can see that. Again, about a 45 degree from that stance leg is pretty good so I can see. All right. Now, let's go outward rotation, right? So it's gonna be here. Let's see if I can change this up a little bit. Make sure that you're not your foot's not caving in. So a lot of times, my students and clients, their foot, you don't want it rolling, right? You're pushing off with that, all right? And then what I use with my students is landmarks. So we have a fire extinguisher on one side, American flag on the other side, and I'll say, all right, point your foot to the flag. Fire extinguisher, flag, right? And then that gives you an aim or a goal to go and reach. And you always want to aim when you're working out, right? So if I'm lifting something, I just kind of doing that. But if I'm looking at it like, you know what? I'm going to punch that fire extinguisher, the exit sign, right? And it's going to make you have a goal, an aim, all right? So there's a paper towel on the ground. Let me hit that. Or sometimes when I'm screwing around with people, I'll be like, oh, I'm fake punching. If I got to cable that person there and just kind of messing with people. But always have an aim when you're working out and moving. It helps a lot. So again, stability-wise with that, okay? Toe touch. from the side, so you can see through this. No touch. Right? And then the opposite one, right? So I'm gonna make sure I go left rotation, right rotation, or I always say in, or I'm sorry, close, open, right? So then I'm going here, reaching out, toe touch. And again, I wanna make note of how far can I go? Is there a discrepancy between my left and my right? Am I falling over when I go front to back, or when I'm side to side? And the test is the exercise is the test. Gary Gray says that, right? So if I'm failing a test, make that your exercise. And always include these in your workout. I will do them in my warm up, I'll do them with bands, I'll do dumbbells and stuff to make it harder. But those are the 6 positions, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And just those 6 positions, I nailed everything. Is there a weakness in any of those 6 positions? And for most of y'all, I guarantee it's that transverse plane, especially the CS, because I've noticed that they hardly have any rotational plane, which that's where all your power and strength comes from. And if I do recommend anything, get these certifications from the Gray Institute, 3D maps, applied functional science. Those are gonna give you and expand your horizons so much more and not kill your body, all right? And tailor your workouts to what real life entails or what the sport entails. And doing, like, unless you're a karate kicker or a kung fu guy, sitting there doing leg extensions is a waste of your time. And it's not even close to mimicking the way that functionality of those muscles and joints normally move. And what you'll do is if you spend too much time doing those, is you'll actually throw that off, because that's the wonderful thing about our body. If we show it a movement too many times, right? So if I'm squatting and my ankles are rolling and I keep doing it over and over again, then that's gonna be the more dominant pattern. And that's gonna throw your body off, and it takes longer to break a bad pattern than it is to teach it the right way. And with that being said, guys, drop your comments if you got any questions about this.